Video games have changed a lot since 1958. From mediocre titles to influential masterpieces, we've seen video games evolve from more than just a hobby or a pastime, but into a place where talented people can tell beautiful stories and create experiences that we keep going back to time and time again. Because, well, it's just so much damn fun. But what exactly makes that experience? Is it the gameplay, the story, or both? What part of a game makes or breaks it that without it, the entire thing falls apart? What is the heart of the game? This is where it all begins. Kratos' wife, Atreus' mother, is dead. The circumstances of her death are not known to us and never explained, but that's fine. What the sequence does perfectly is establish the tone for the rest of the game. This is a game about life, death, and most importantly, family. The bond between child and parent, and how important it is to have that bond. For Atreus, however, specifically within this moment, he wipes his tears away and bucks up. Why? Because he doesn't want his father to see him crying. He doesn't want his father to think of him as weak. He's ashamed to be vulnerable, not only as a son of Kratos, but as a man in general, and that's not good. Atreus shouldn't feel ashamed or embarrassed. His mom just died, and from what context we can gather here,
She told you don't.
What she knew.
Show me.
and here,
You went to the old temple, but Mom told me never to go in there.
Faye and Atreus were close, which means now that he's alone with his dad, he's scared, but he doesn't want to show it. Within this perspective change, we can gather a whole lot about the relationship as it stands. With Faye, we're indoors. It's warm, safe, and away from him. Kratos is a presence, embodied in shadow, looming, cold, distant, but getting closer. The director Cory Barlog touched on this dynamic plenty of times. In his interview with The Guardian, regarding himself and his own son, he said, "I would love to go on an adventure with Helio. I hope that he would want to, that we wouldn't have this awkward relationship that unfortunately we have right now, because I work so much." Because Kratos wasn't around much in Atreus' early years, Atreus interprets that as, "You don't love me. You don't want to spend time with me. It's obvious that I don't live up to your expectations. I'm trying to be better for my son, and regretting every moment that I'm not spending with him." It's this specific mentality we've all had towards our parents at one point or another. Where do I fit into your life? Am I loved? Do you even care what happens to me? These questions are why we lash out as kids and teenagers. We want our parents' love and affection. As children, we purposefully nag at our parents over and over because we love the way they look at us. When our mothers look at us, we know that there's nothing they wouldn't do to protect and love us. When our fathers look at us, we know that there's no one they wouldn't go through to make sure we get to where we need to be. It's these same looks that fester doubt into our subconscious because as we transition into adults, this is how we perceive their eyes. You have so much potential and you're squandering it. You're too young to understand. You've failed. Atreus is in his formative years, and without proper communication, these shared thoughts become reality for each of us, creating a rift between us and our parents, like Atreus and Kratos. We grow distant, almost unfamiliar, and forget that they're humans with complexities. We know where Kratos comes from, so we kind of understand. He has the same moment with Faye as Atreus does, but it's seemingly faster. Because Kratos knows death. He conquered the river Styx. He stared into the eyes of Hades himself and murdered him. And he's lost friends, comrades, and family before. And of course it hurts. But he, as a father, can't show weakness. Breaking down now would leave Atreus in chaos. But Kratos also feels inadequate as a father, and can never muster up the courage to act upon those true feelings of admiration he has towards his son. As a Spartan, Kratos repeated his childhood in Atreus. Heart discipline, structure, strength. However, through Kratos' past mistakes, he's forgotten the fundamentals, keeping him in his toxic Spartan ways and ultimately reverberating into Atreus' childhood without even explaining to him his true heritage, and that leads us here.
I know you're a god. Not of this realm, but there's no mistaking it. He doesn't know, does he? About your true nature, or his own?
That is none of your concern.
The gods of these realms don't take kindly to outsiders, trust me. I know. When they find you, and they will, they'll make things difficult. The boy will want answers.
That will be my problem.
Whatever you're hiding, you cannot protect him forever. But you're right. Doesn't concern me.
Kratos is constantly warned that if he doesn't share his true nature with Atreus, then it will have negative repercussions on his son, which leads us here. And this is where it all hits the fan. Throughout the story, we have gotten bits and pieces of these two bonding. From when they arrive in Alfheim, Atreus is abducted, saved, and in his perspective, left alone, resurfacing old feelings. Feelings that have not yet been addressed, but have been suppressed by the journey, needing exploration. However, due to his fear, Kratos shuts this down, continuing the vicious cycle. For every moment they got closer, Kratos pushed them back 2 steps, making it all subconscious. Kratos can't bear the shame he has for destroying his home, and that is why he came here. He met Faye, and they had Atreus. It was an escape. Kratos forgets the one constant that has been true his entire life, a luxury his father Zeus never afforded him, that he is not in control. And that is his biggest flaw. Constantly trying to be in control of a path that he was forced to walk. By trying to maintain this control, he does a disservice to his son. Thinking that he's protecting Atreus by sheltering him from his past, he's actually enabling his son to become him. They don't talk about it because Kratos doesn't want to. He wanted to control how he felt and in turn control how Atreus feels. By not facing himself, Kratos allowed his son to get sick, and now it's on him to make it right. What Cory Barlog does in spades here is that he gives Kratos the emotional growth he thought he always knew. What his perception of wisdom was is turned on its head, and all while he continues to fight for control. As we get older, it becomes more difficult to learn new things, to admit that you're wrong, because you're set in your ways. Change as an adult is a process, and why Kratos needs to face his past head on, embrace it, and conquer hell for his son. And this section is about that growth. Kratos looks death in the face once again and says no, but this time it's for someone else. However, because of his impatience, Kratos begins to dip back into his old patterns, the ways that were set. And he has much to learn and much more to lose now. And that brings us back here.
Did I tell you that I have a son too? It's been forever since I last saw him. At his birth, the runes foretold a needless death. The babe in my arms was so small, so helpless. I knew right then I would do anything to protect him, no matter the sacrifice. Of course, everything I did for myself. I let my needs, my fears, come before what he needed. And I couldn't see his resentment until it was too late. Don't make the same mistake. Have faith in him. I know the truth isn't simple, but nothing is when it involves your child.
Freya is telling Kratos everything he needs to hear and everything he has known but chooses to ignore, which leads us to this conversation.
You are quiet. Are you not better?
I guess.
I know you overheard my talk with Freya. You think you understand, but you do not. Why do you say nothing?
You said I was cursed. You think I'm weak because I'm not like you. I know I was never what you wanted. But after all this, I thought maybe things were different.
You do not know everything, boy.
No. But at least I know the truth now.
The truth. The truth. I am a god, boy. From another land far from here. When I came to these shores, I chose to live as a man. But the truth is, I was born a god. And so were you. Boy, have you nothing to say?
Can I turn into an animal?
Can you turn into an animal? No. No, I do not think so.
I'm a god. Mother knew? She was a god too?
No. She was mortal, but she knew my true nature.
I'm a god. Why did you wait so long to tell me?
I had hoped to spare you. Being a god, it can be a lifetime of anguish and tragedy. That is the curse.
What sorts of things can I do? Can I fly? Turn invisible? I don't feel like a god.
I do not know the reach of your godhood. But over time, you will learn.
Now that Kratos has faced his past and chose to share with Atreus his true nature, he's beginning to understand what it truly means to be a father. And fatherhood isn't easy. This game's story is just a microcosm of fatherhood, and it explores the nuance of that subject very well. But going back a little to what I have quoted from a Guardian interview with Cory Barlog saying, "I'm trying to be better for my son," a passerby of the game had posted a letter on Reddit for Cory Barlog, explaining that he had actually never understood his father, and that this game helps him open his eyes to the subject of the relationship. He said, "Watching people play this game and unfold its story made me re-examine and dig deeper into my feelings about my father. Maybe the parts of him I despised. The most were just him not knowing any better. A parent is a human too, and I think we don't really register that for a long time. We expect them to know everything, and when they hurt us, we assume it's because they made a conscious decision to do so. But as I learned before, and as this game made me internalize, in some cases they are often just as lost as we are, if not more. With that being shared, we can focus on this moment. Kratos has learned a valuable lesson about being open and vulnerable with Atreus. But as I said before, growing as an established adult is a process. And it's here we can see Kratos embrace his past while still rejecting it, hiding his true self from his son once more. Of course, this is all resolved at the end of the game, but that isn't why you're here. Why this small moment matters is because of what he soon realizes afterward.
Boy. Yeah. On the day you were born, I made 2 knives, mixing metals from my home and from this land. One for myself, and when you were ready, one for you. Today is that day.
So I'm a man now, like you?
No. We are not men. We are more than that. The responsibility is far greater. must be better than me. Understand? Say it.
I will be better.
The power of this weapon, any weapon, comes from here. But only when tempered by this. By the discipline, the self-control of the one who wields it. That is where the true strength of a warrior lies. You must never forget that. Good then. Come.
He isn't saying this specifically for Atreus, but for himself too. This speech is a projection of his insecurities and something he wished he established for them both very long ago. And with this moment of understanding what it truly means to be a father, we can actually get to the heart of the game, which is Kratos sharing wine from his homeland with Atreus.
Yareth. We're so close to the end.
Sit. Lemnian wine. The island of Lemnos. Near the place of my birth.
Lemnos.
To a journey's end.
Really? Smells like rotten eggs. Is it still good?
Possibly.
Father, why did you leave your home and come here? Does it have to do with the other gods there? It's just, you hate the gods so much. But Tyr proves that gods can be good. And you're good. You only killed those deserving, right?
Yes.
Ah, but who's worthy enough to judge?
And why is this the heart of the game? Because throughout this journey, we have seen more than just Kratos and Atreus grow separately. We've shared a mutual understanding with these characters together. And though this may not be the last lesson for either of them, it is the most important. And that's being honest, vulnerable, and your true self. The Lift of Tears vault is indoors, it's warm, safe, and now intimate, like Faye was for both of them. Below is the past, the shadows, the cold, the looming distance between them. And above them is the light, the future, the road to the mountain. And although their mission is not yet complete, the path for them has been tempered. Instead of controlling it or being fearful of it, they now walk it together, ready to take on what lies ahead as father and son. They have a couple more setbacks, but the dynamic has shifted once again, allowing Kratos to truly become a father. Without this moment, the success of their relationship and the trials that they face and overcome next are not earned. This small moment, as insignificant as it may seem, ripples back to the beginning and forward to the end. Atreus' parental contrast has become one. He can be open with his father now, and though it leads to a character conflict soon, it's necessary for the character's growth. We see Atreus take on the negative traits of Kratos for a little bit, which lands them both in hell. Though, to be fair, Kratos himself makes a mistake and breaks the gateway to Jotunheim. It's a misstep that they both need to make in order to become closer. But without Kratos finally establishing Atreus as an equal, we don't get this. And most importantly, we don't get this. The recognition, respect, and admiration they have for each other now, just from sharing some wine, is the new cornerstone of their relationship going forward, and, in my opinion, the heart of the game. Honestly, thank you guys all so much for watching, and until the next video, let's all raise a glass together.
To a journey's end.
Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. Come on.